What is going on, guys? Thank you so much for coming back to Cobra TV, and today we're going to be doing a traditional subcast. We're not going to be having the Galactic Thunderdome tonight, and we've got guest Rayrod. Rayrod, we all know who Rayrod is, the guy who makes the most amazing mods, and who I believe influenced No Man's Sky, or Hello Games, in their direction on how they went and approached next. I 100% believe that most of the stuff that Rayrod has done was shown up, appeared in Next. So we've got Rayrod on the call today. We also have Snow Obsidian, who's going to be guest co-hosting with us, and we've got our amazing co-host Semtex UK is going to be on the show. So we're just going to chit-chat. We're going to talk about No Man's Sky, possible future updates, what's going to happen after week number 8 of the weekly community events, and I want you guys to call into the show, kind of tell me if you like the direction Hello Games is going in, or did you like the old way where we got an update every 4 to 6 months? I just to start off, I feel like the other way was a bit better, and I don't think that's quite disappeared just yet, and we're going to talk about that here as soon as we get started. But we're going to go ahead and roll the intro, guys. We've got Liberties in the chat, Matt, Firewolf, and Jason E. What's up, guys? How you doing? Thank you so much for coming by today. We're going to roll the intro. We will be right back with our awesome guests.
You have tuned into Cobra TV, the only galactic radio station in the Euclid Galaxy. This is a subcast. Join our Discord and wait in the room called at less 102.5 FM to be raptured. If you can't come on the show, leave Cobra's Speakpipe message. The link is below. We are sorry, no guests allowed tonight. Cobra is not trapped in the simulation with you. You are trapped in the simulation with Cobra. Join our cult. The Cult of the Atlas. The link is below. This is a subcast, and now, your host, Cobra.
No check tonight! What is going on, guys? Thank you so much for coming back to Cobra TV, and this is a subcast. Like I said before, I don't know if you're just joining, we're not going to be having the Galactic Thunderdome tonight unless we see some crazy drama happen in the chat, and then we might say, okay, well, all right, well, let's jump over and get this fight going. But tonight, I just want to do a subcast. We got Rayrod on the show to talk about what he's doing with this mod, what he's data mined out of the game that you guys need to know, and you're looking at some of that right now on the screen. These are motorcycles that he has found inside the game files. And there's probably more that he has found as well, because this guy sits up. He's like the Mad Hatter of modding No Man's Sky. He is absolutely insane, and insane in a good way, in a very good way. We're lucky to have somebody like Rayrod in the No Man's Sky community. And with him, I want to just hi Rayrod, how you doing?
Hey Cobra, thanks for having me here. I'm awesome. Doing well. How are you doing?
It's a pleasure to have you on, man. I'm doing good, doing good. So what have you been up to, bud?
I've been like really busy. I'm developing like a new addition to my fan project. It's going to be a multiverse consisting of infinite unique universes for No Man's Sky. Okay. All right. So that's awesome. Guys, also the person you just heard, I just interrupted, it was also Semtex UK. I highly advise you to go check out Semtex UK's YouTube channel. His link is down below, and he's been doing a lot of Boundless, which I have not had my chance to dip my feet in just yet. I did, but we haven't uploaded any content of that yet. But if you want to see some amazing stuff, go to Semtex UK. He does No Man's Sky, Boundless, and is about to probably spread out into a lot of other things. Semtex, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing really well, yeah. I'm as you say, I have been absolutely addicted to Boundless. I'm not going to lie, it is absolutely taken over everything I've done.
Oh, I bet.
For a long time. It is brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. I recommend everyone going and checking it out. Absolutely amazing game. Yeah.
Right. I recommend it too as well. We got Northern Queen in the chat saying, hi, Mr. Cobra. Did you see the experimental notes? We're getting new body types and stuff for player models. Yeah, I did. And that's pretty awesome. We can make ourselves look like we've eaten a bit too many Diplo steaks.
Too many boys.
Okay, so what you're looking on the screen here is something that Ray Rod data mined, and it's motorcycles, which I'm super excited for. With this, though, I'm going to lead into talking about the updates, because I don't think we're ever going to see these motorcycles as part of something you could buy for Quicksilver. Nah, I don't. So I don't think the big updates are over just yet, and possibly what we could see after the eighth week of the community events is maybe an update, a major update, because what we're seeing with these community events is we're getting new emojis, some decals to stick up here and there, and some trophies to put in your bases and stuff like that, but nothing really big. We are getting some rather significant changes to the game, like Northern Queen, Miss Queen there in the chat says, with the body types and stuff like that, but nothing as big as these new exocraft that we're looking at. But Rayrod, speaking of these exocraft, we'll get into what you're planning here in a second, but I think what's on the tips of a lot of people's minds is, what have you found by lurking through some of the data, by data mining some of the files in No Man's Sky?
Well, I found, VR data, pre-Next, there wasn't any files that was relating to virtual reality. So it's possible that Hello Games is planning to incorporate that in, or is at least testing with it. There's data for vehicle customization, weapon customization, new NPCs to get added. There's a lot of unused game modes. There are actually a few new biomes that Hello Games made that has not been enabled yet. There are new exotic types. They were added recently on an experimental branch. I think that's pretty much about it that I've noticed so far.
Okay, so Northern Queen in the chat says she's right. She's 100% right. I just completely forgot about that. They did say exocraft for Quicksilver in some of the community events. That's right. Yes, I do remember them saying that. So my apologies there, and thank you, Northern Queen, for keeping me in line there. But yeah, she's right. So those are pretty cool. So new biomes. That's something you can't buy with Quicksilver. I mean, your opinion, have you seen enough files to where you think that there could be another update, or do you think that the big updates every 46 months are over, or do you think that maybe we could see something after week 8?
I'm not entirely sure. I mean, we've been getting a lot of micro updates, every now and then for since they've released. I know a lot of it has been heavily focused on bug fixing and, catering to the requests of the community. I did see Sean say that they were planning to get around to the fun stuff once they get these things out of the way. And, we're beginning to see that with the community events and some of these new things being added, including the new animations and the vehicle concept art that is in the files now, and the new biomes that are yet to be enabled. There's a few of them, maybe 3 or 4 new ones.
Okay. And what do they look like?
They're exotic they're exotic planets. One of them looks like broken televisions and shards and stuff like that. Another one, they're really weird structures. I don't even know how to describe them. But if I could add anything about the motorcycles, is that I believe that they're going to be procedural, just like the multi-tools are and the ships are. Because if they don't make those procedural, then pretty much everything else will be. There's even procedural attributes to the characters that are not that aren't enabled right now.
Right. That's Linto. These are from the game files. This is something that Ray Rod data mined, and he's here to tell us all about that and what he's doing in the mod that he's creating for us. I'm sorry, Ray, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to answer Linto real quick.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah. But, yeah, that was pretty much it.
Okay. All right. So, interesting. Broken televisions. I would love to see that. Are you able to get any pictures of that?
Yeah, my friend MSSP took some pictures of it. I mean, I have to dig them up. I don't have them offhand right now.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely love to see some of that. So tell me a little bit about what exactly you're working on as far as your mod right now, and are you still trying to mod the PS4 version?
Okay, so I do still desire and plan to port my fan project to the PS4 once I have it functional on PC and where I want it. That's another thing that I have like on hold right now that I plan to tackle in time, because that's like, you know, it's a new realm of stuff that I need to like dive into and figure some things out regarding the PlayStation Archive compression mechanism. But regarding the fan project that I'm working on, that I am developing, I'm actually coding it now, and I'm making a program for this, you know. But basically what's going on is I am developing a multiverse consisting of infinite universes with infinite worlds. I develop self-creating environments that are consistent in quality. In fact, everything is self-creating. Not only environments, and not only do the environments get automated uniquely with consistency, they now rebuild themselves dynamically. You see, Rayrod's multiverse will create itself as you explore from planet to planet and follow the style of concept arts, fan art, sci-fi book covers, real-life locations, NASA imagery, a series of mysterious but revitalized and modernized pre-release builds that are all unique, painterly, and stylish in their own distinctive ways. You know, in between various No Man's Sky builds, off-the-record leaked pre-release footages, off-the-record screenshots from the reveal trailer in 2013, E3 2014, 2015, early IGN 2016, the PS4 RC1 build that we've never experienced. A lot of these builds we haven't experienced firsthand, including all known release builds in between mid-2016 Foundation, Pathfinder, Atlas Rises.
Oh, we lost you there a little bit, Ray.
Can you hear me now?
It's much lighter.
Testing. Hello?
I think, yeah, might just be your microphone. Possibly you might have knocked the jack.
Can you hear me right now?
It's a little bit lighter, and crazy for bananas. Thank you, buddy. I wish I worked in the radio industry, but I don't. I'm much more happy here on YouTube rather than being in radio.
Testing.
That's good.
There we go.
Very well. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so what I was saying is that, it'll be a multiverse consisting of infinite universes, and every unknown and known version of No Man's Sky, ranging from all the way from beta No Man's Sky to the reveal in 2013, E3 2014, 2015, early IGN 2016, the PS4 RC1 build, the mid-2016 release build, Foundation, Pathfinder, Atlas Rises, and Next, all incorporated into the style of Next and modernized and overhauled. And real-world planetary environments are going to be recreated into the actual game of No Man's Sky based off of photography. And there's going to be extremely rare but unique conceptual art-based worlds, places you would never expect to see, like Namek, for example. And there's going to be a lot more to come. Various other environments by a few friends incorporated with permission, such as Shydak's Generation, Better Worlds by Templar Graphics, alongside 20,000 fully procedural but unique handcrafted biomes by myself that have now been pushed to what is essentially infinite through my code. No planet will be the same in any attribute. There will be unique environments with distinctively unique rules, unique sub-biomes that blend into environments to create a multi-biome kind of emulation. There will be unique terrain, unique and dynamic weather, unique visuals, unique ecology, unique AI activity, unique buildings. Although the multiverse is partially handcrafted by choice, where I look at the conceptual imagery and recreate what I'm seeing live in-game through hacking the executable's memory code, my source code loads those unique templates that I've made and recreates them in a rule-based, unique algorithm-based fashion that, in a complex fashion. You'll never know what to expect in your travels. It's a self-creating multiverse consisting of infinite universes with infinite worlds, irrelevant to the maximum number of a 64-bit value. So you can expect it to be drastically different from older versions. You see, I don't like being identified as a modder. I don't like identifying this as a mod, even though I am, and it essentially is. I see it as a custom multi-build hybrid, a fan project, similar to former versions, but in this case, every aspect of it is being developed more carefully from scratch with higher standards that I'm not willing to bend. And the ultimate goal is to create something that is a blend of every unknown and known build in such a way where hopefully it won't really feel like a mod, but more so as if it could be an actual addition to the game because of the effort and the refinement poured into it. It will be an entire game overhaul, a multi-build hybrid of every data mined, unreleased, and released version of No Man's Sky. I set a general standard for myself pre-Next for this reboot that every moment in-game, no matter where you are, must look like a concept art. Now that Next is released and it looks absolutely gorgeous, I had to set the bar higher for myself. It's still in development, but know that there will be infinite variety. The motto is quality over quantity. However, who says that we can't have both? I prefer quality and consistency in quantity. There will also be infinite color variety. So think of it like this. If you're exploring worlds and the colors are repetitive, it's just going to look like, different assets and different things, there. But the visual aspect to No Man's Sky has a great impact on the experience. So after 10 hours, I finished coding, for the color palettes in a systematic fashion. But I like to emphasize that this is not entirely random, but rule-based, algorithmic. Purely random often results in chaotic. We can have infinite variety with absolute consistency. You see, I've set things up in such a way where I don't know what to expect, but I know to expect to not see what I don't want to see because of rules. Infinite biome palette variety with no eyesore planets. Not only is there infinite variety, the biome color variety is being procedurally generated based off of rule-based conceptual art, atmospherics, and space palettes that I created in game, based off of No Man's Sky fan art, random science fiction book covers, real life locations, photography from outside of my house, and NASA imagery. And I repainted those palettes. I repainted that imagery by comparing it to what I was seeing it on the screen and recreating it live in game through hacking the executable. So right now, what I have, there are 1,773,917,184 rule-based procedural palette combinations to be exact, but changing the number of combinations, increasing it or decreasing it, is as simple as typing in a new number and clicking a button. Apart from that, what I can say is that users may be able to regenerate the entire multiverse, into a completely new multiverse by clicking a button.
Wow. Every time you come on a show, two things happen. For one, you make the show insanely easy for me to do, right? But number two, you blow my mind every single time. Like you just said so much information in there, and one of the numbers that stuck out of my head, you said you handcrafted 25,000 new biomes?
Can you say that again?
Did you say you handcrafted 25,000 new biomes?
Oh, yeah. I did that, since No Man's Sky release, I was working on biomes, and I handcrafted, at least 20,000 of them by now. But in actuality, the number of biomes now is actually irrelevant to the mod because there's going to be infinite biomes. No planet, there will be more biomes, more environments than planets in the, in the actual game. No planet will be unique to each other now. I used to do everything by hand, but now I look at concept arts and whatever I'm picturing, or just pictures in my mind, and then I recreate it in the game exactly as I see it, and I'm at a point now where I can look at the real world and actually put it in the game identically. And then I have those templates of stuff that I created, and then I actually load it through my code, and then my code manipulates pretty much it basically creates all, manipulations based off of those templates and creates new files in distinctively unique fashions based off of complex algorithms, and it's generating, automating unique biomes, unique environments that are rule based and follow rules and remain consistent, and they must and they will always look like a painting that was professionally painted in game, whether you be on planet or in space. And every single aspect of the game with the multiverse will be consistently unique, not just environments. Like, you will never know what to expect.
That's insane.
I just
Absolutely
paused
insane.
it on a screen where you've got like this tree/flower, and there's a base being built on top of it.
Oh yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, that, yeah, that thing, dude. What in the world? You have created something absolutely amazing. When is this going to be? How far are you away from having this available?
So that's actually some of my pre-next work, and my pre-next work is actually going to be extremely modest compared to what I have now. Like, pre-next, the overhaul felt like it had near infinite variety, but it's going to be extremely modest compared to what I'm working on. It's like it won't even compare. But what I can say is that the multiverse is still in development. Like, I have some new videos that I posted on my YouTube channel, as of recently, but that's like very, very, very early in development content, and I'm working on it. And to be honest, I don't take breaks unless it's to take care of personal needs. Like, if I'm awake, this is what I'm working on. So, I'm just like, I'm basically writing ideas down, planning it out, learning an entirely new code, programming language, and I'm learning as I go, so that I can do this. And a benefit to this is, in the future, when new updates drop, all I have to do is change one or two things, and then I can click a button and it will recreate my entire mod without having to manually update it.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
I mean, like, I don't have an estimated time available, but I don't think it's going to take too long. I don't think it's going to take too long. But what I can say is that I made a Discord channel, right?
Right.
And on the Discord channel, I am considering posting early test betas versions, and also releasing modded content in fragments as I continue to progress.
Ray Rod, I think I'm in your Discord. I'm not sure. Can you please send me on Twitter your Discord so I can share that in the chat here?
Sure, I'll do that right now. Thanks.
Okay.
I'm gonna inbox you.
And while he's doing that, I'm just going to remind everyone in the chat and whoever's watching that if you want to get on the Subcast, just click or tab if you're on mobile. The little link in the description, and wait in the Atlas 102.5 FM room for Cobra to pull you in.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Snow. We've got Aerodynamic in there, and we've got Senrios and Ronk. We're going to pull you guys in here in just a second. I just want to give Ray Rod a little bit more time to talk before you guys come on the show, and I would like you guys to ask any questions you want with to Ray Rod. But let me see if I can get his Discord. Let's see. See if I can get this in chat. All right, so are you simultaneously working on the PS4 mod at the same time as what you're doing now, or are you just focusing on one at a time?
Not at the moment. I don't think it would make sense because when I port it to the PS4, I'm going to actually be porting my PS4 build. I'm sorry, I'm going to be porting my PC build to the PS4, and I need to have like a fully functionable PC build that I'm completely satisfied with before, before doing that. Because then it would just be like extra testing, when the PC and PS4 builds, the content, the files are actually essentially the same.
Okay. All right. And you said that nobody's going to have to jailbreak their PS4. It'll just be simply like putting in a USB and that's it.
Yep.
Well, that's good. That's good.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I've always been afraid to get mods on my consoles just because I didn't want to brick it on accident by trying to jailbreak it. So that's definitely good news.
So I sent you a link on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the link? Let's see. Hold on. Let me go back.
Yeah, in case anyone is like curious about some of the early content. That's all.
Oh yeah, that's on your website, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we were just watching that from your website. Go ahead and talk about your website, Just Paste It, and what you got going on here. What is this about?
So it's just like a brief, key overview of some aspects to the multiverse. There's so much more to it. It's just too much to condense, but, I thought I'd take the time to explain, like, a bit about the depth regarding the generation and, what goes into making infinite worlds with, uniqueness and a consistency to it that look like, concept art. I don't really see a point in having infinite variety, infinite planets if it looks ugly. So it has to have consistent beauty with it, and that's like a lot of work, but I can do it and I will do it. I'm doing it. I'm working on it, and I'm creating more things and developing new content and even creating new assets for No Man's Sky as I go, alongside utilizing and fully fleshing out all of the assets that the game has to offer, which is a lot more than what is actually used. So, the Just Pace It is just, it's information, like if, someone's curious about what is Rayrod's multiverse, what is the general basis of what it's about.
I'm right now. I'm looking at a video on your website, and it has one of the fiends from the Whispering Eggs, and it's massive. Is that trick like some kind of Photoshop, or is that really your mod?
Oh no. So like that's a pre-next video. That's from Atlas Rises, and all of those images in the video called The Art of No Man's Sky Rayrod's Overhaul, there's no reshade, no external post-processing, no Photoshop. It's 100% in-game using my old fan project.
So that fiend is real, and it can attack you that big.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be rare Godzilla-sized creatures.
Oh, my gosh. What? Say that one more time.
There's going to be rare Godzilla-sized creatures, even stuff in the oceans, and there's going to be like custom AI and stuff like that.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ray, are you going to give us Space Whales?
Sure.
Thanks. See, guys, this is how you do it. You want something? Ask Ray. He'll tell you, sure. This is great, dude. I want to take callers so they can get in here and talk to you, but I want you to go ahead and kind of get out what you wanted to say.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah, for sure. Like the direction, anything that you want to say. The platform is yours, dude. You are the #1 person on this show right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, like, just to say, like the newer next content is actually like towards the top of the page. Just a heads up. That's like the newer stuff towards the top of the Just Paste It link. So, like, I think I pretty much covered it all. Well, I didn't cover it all. I can't cover it all. There's just so much involved and so much going on, and I'm not willing to spoil a lot of things. Like, there's going to be things that people don't even expect, and I'm just like getting new ideas as I go along. But what I can say is, that if anyone has used like, you know, the older content that I have and they enjoyed it, you know, I'm glad that they enjoyed it. But just know that, you know, everything that is in this new version will pretty much make the older versions look, you know, inferior.
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking at something here. There's a picture of a dead tree, and that looks so amazing that it doesn't even look like No Man's Sky. It looks like something way better. Look at the blue biome that you've got to this thing. I don't know if you could see what I'm seeing.
Deserts are stunning as well. The deserts shots though were absolutely amazing.
Right. Absolutely amazing, dude. Absolutely amazing. Are you ready to start taking questions, or is there anything you would like to say before we start?
Yeah, it's fine. I just can't really think of anything else.
Okay. Well, maybe we can get some people in here. What's that?
Said before we start, I just want to tell you that Grammy is unable to come onto the show. She has a fibromyalgia attack.
Oh, I'm sorry, Grammy.
Like I know what that is, but yeah.
We're
Totally
thinking
to get
about
well
you, Grammy. All right, get better.
Oh yeah, Cobra. I
Yeah.
apologize if I'm stuttering a lot. I'm like, I have a short in my headphone wires, so I'm like holding it in one place. And,
Oh
like,
no.
I'm like trying to focus.
Oh man, that's all right, dude. That's all right. Yeah, no. Yeah, I didn't see you stuttering. I stutter. I'm the one that stutters. All right, let's get Aerodynamic on the show. Aero, what's going on, buddy? Aero left. Let's do that again. Let's get Aero. Aero's back on the show. Aero, what's going on, bud? How you doing?
Oh, sorry. I thought I disconnected from the other chat, and I was like, wait a minute. Sorry.
What's going on, bud? You are on Cobra TV, and we've got Ray Rod on the call with us.
Nothing much. Just I'm just playing No Man's Sky, just kind of chilling. You know, I saw that you were live, so I was like, oh, sweet.
Awesome, very awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's good to have you on the show. Did you have any questions for Ray Rod? Are you familiar with Ray Rod?
Not really, but I was watching the stream and like I was seeing how I'm guessing it was like a mod or something, right? Am I correct?
Yes.
And I saw the part where it was like the enhanced like nighttime, like the sky, like how the sky looks in the nighttime, and I was like, that's really impressive because of how well done it is, you know?
Right.
And I mean, I wouldn't say I have any questions per se, other than, you know, I was wondering like if there was something you were doing to like maybe the rings and the ring planets, like trying to enhance those, maybe, if that was like a possibility.
Oh yeah, that was one of the first things that I did on Next. I was looking at the rings and the planets and then comparing them to like rings in real life, and I was making different variations of them in real time.
Oh, sweet.
Wow. Already on it, dude. He is already on it. That's how cool Ray Rod is, man.
That is impressive.
So we can expect to see rings on planets that look entirely different from the rings on planets as we see in game currently.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Now,
yeah.
Keep this in mind, folks. Keep this in mind. What Ray Rod did in his mod essentially is almost what we got in Next. Now, Ray Rod did the third person, which we could probably say, okay, that was coming. Ray Rod did he made everything bigger in his mod, and that's what came in Next. A lot of what we see in Next, I believe, and nobody can tell me any different, Hello Games was extremely influenced on from seeing Ray Rod's mods. So it's very important to watch Ray Rod, even today, as we could possibly see some of the things that he's working on literally creep itself into the next big update for No Man's Sky, such as what Ray Rod has been, drilling down on trying to focus on is variation. Are you able to play with the animals in it at all?
The animals?
Yeah. Are you able to create any new creatures with the assets that are there, or play with the sliders in it at all?
Oh yeah, definitely. So there's going to be an ecology overhaul. Actually, there's going to be like infinite ecology rules in the multiverse. So there's like a lot of different approaches to that. Like I do have custom creatures. Like, you know, before in the past, like I would look at old No Man's Sky trailers from like pre-release and take inspiration from them, and I would actually recreate those creatures as I see them, you know, with in-game assets. Like I already ported over all of the creatures from Fleck from the IGN video titled "A Tour of 5 Beautiful Planets." I already did the wheel. I already did various other pre-release creatures, and the one from the No Man's Sky gameplay trailer with the giant, tall, striders and stuff like that. And there's a lot of other things. Like I have flying underwater creatures. I have Godzilla creatures. You know, pretty much any. You know, there's like right now there's thousands and thousands and thousands of unique rules for, you know, every single creature, and, you know, like advanced ecology rules, improved animations, and a lot of other things going on. I'm going to be creating actually new creatures in the future. And, you know, like there was a time where a friend and I were testing, trying to import a custom creature into the game. But there was an issue because we weren't really able to add extra animations. But, you know, I have a friend who is working on that stuff, and what is it? So it may actually be possible in the future to add, to model 3D model creatures and to give them custom animations. So we'll see what happens with that. It'll probably be complex to do, but I mean, you know, the way that I see things is like, if I don't know how to do something, then I must find a way. You know, if I don't know, it's like if I can't find a solution to something, I need to make a solution. If I don't know how to make a solution, I need to learn what I need to learn to be able to make a solution. Okay. Because go on.
Do you see the creature? It's probably going to take a couple seconds because of YouTube's delay. Do you see the creature that is on the screen right now? Not the deer, but the ape. That's
on two legs?
Yes, he looks like an ape, and he's got like these little horns coming off of his head. I don't know.
Yeah, I can recreate that.
You can I would be so thankful. I got a PC now that I can actually play No Man's Sky on, and I would be so thankful if you could actually. When I saw this little guy, right? Because I love apes. They're my favorite animal ever. When I saw this guy, I was so freaking happy that I was going to come across something like that in the game, but sadly, I don't think it ever got put in there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that for you, Cobra.
Oh my God, thank you so much, dude. Yeah. All right, sold, guys. If you want something, peek Ray Rod's interest and see if he can get it in the game for you. I'm going to go ahead and take another caller. We're going to get one here called Seniros. I've never seen this gentleman or person before, so we're going to get him in here. Let's see if I can pronounce your name right. Seniros. Kennyros. Yeah, you're muted, buddy. All right, so he's muted. Give him a few seconds and see if he unmutes. If not, we'll go ahead and take the next caller down on the list. And
I hear something.
No, he's still muted.
No, not on mine.
I want to ask Ray Rod a question.
Go ahead, buddy.
Before we take the next. Oh, I was going to ask, because I know you said that you're doing like an ecology overhaul. I was wondering if that like applies to the animal, like the way the animals behave with each other, not just the player itself. So like, would the animals like attack? Like I know that, there's predatory animals in No Man's Sky already, but they more or less just are there to attack the player. But I'm wondering if they like attack each other based on like what kind of animal they are. Like if there's a prey type and a predator type. Yep. Kind of like how it is in this one, or kind of how it is.
So,
sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, my bad. Are you asking about like the vanilla base game?
Well, no, I'm asking like, would it be more like, what I mean is, because I know that in the base game itself, it has a predatory and like a prey, kind of like a prey, how a prey is, to where like if it sees you, it runs off because it thinks it's going to kill you. Or if it's a predator, it's going to attack you because it thinks it can take you on, and it mainly attacks the player. Yeah. What I'm asking is since you're doing an ecology overhaul, are you going to make it toward the animals like a predator would attack the prey, but it's in a more sophisticated manner?
Yes,
than it would be.
There will be.
Okay, that's cool.
There will be infinite variations of ecology rules and ecology roles, and there'll be rule based. So expect not to see like wonky stuff.
Awesome, very awesome. People in the chat are telling me that ape thing's already in the game. I've never seen it ever. Have you, Semtex?
I've seen that animal. Yeah.
Why haven't I?
Very much like that.
Yeah.
Looks like the ape, huh? Oh man.
Yeah, they're actually like kind of upright walking cows more when you see them in game. To be honest with you, I think
this one's like
the
an ape.
angle. Yeah, it's the angle that you're seeing it from that makes it kind of look a bit more like that. To be honest.
Really?
But yeah, that is in the game. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, that's good to know.
For those who find it, send Cobra a code. The little coordinate codes. Send Cobra that coordinate code for him to find.
No, this is an ape. And he's got a dinosaur fin on the back.
Yeah, they kind of look like more like upright walking cows. It's the way the back arches and everything when you see them. They are very cool though. They are super cool.
Is it Cineros?
Huh. Okay, all right. I'll take your word for it. Okay, so Sunny Rose is still muted. We're gonna get I drink maple syrup in the call here.
Cobra?
Hello.
I drink maple syrup.
Yes, hello.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing good. Just was watching the podcast, interested because Rayrod is here, listening to the mod and whatnot.
All right, awesome to have you on, man. It's a pleasure to have you on Cobra TV. Did you have any questions for Rayrod?
Somewhat. So, apparently it's okay, so from what I've heard, it's essentially a procedural generation is a lot different from random generation, correct? In which there are rules and guidelines that you must follow, which he has stated multiple times. But I'm curious as to know how long did it take to write those rules, and did you write them or have them generated with another set of rules that you wrote?
Okay, so like I spent, around 2 years getting familiar with the game, since mid-2016 when the game released. And, I started off like, getting familiar with the game and handcrafting biomes until I got to, a place where I could comfortably, recreate things, that I'm seeing from images, whether it be on the internet or conceptual, and pretty much put it into the game. So that right there was around like 2 years of work. But then regarding the like the code, what I'm coding right now, like for example, like the 2 new videos that I have, that was about like maybe like 2 or 3 weeks into it. But there's going to be layers and layers and layers of code, regarding like the generation. There's going to be like a lot of depth to it.
What language are you writing the mod in primarily? I know that you're probably using multiple for different assets.
Well, I used to code things in Python and C++, but right now I'm studying C#.
Okay. Second question. There are a few mods out there currently with the similar aspect of procedural biomes, more biomes than there are planets, etc. There's one called Diverse Environments out right now, which, mind you, that is nowhere near what you claim to be creating. But the idea is the same, in which there are procedural biomes, and you said the keyword being consistency, that it would be thorough and flow as if it were a real planet and not a 3-year-old's cartoon drawing.
Right.
Can you describe examples of consistency? Would it be, appropriate color blending in the color palette, or biomes that look nice together in a frost world, for example?
Okay, so yes, I'm familiar with Diverse Environments. That author and I used to have problems. We go way back, but we're cool now. So his is a different approach. His is pretty much almost completely random, but he has you know, he has some rules and stuff in place. You know, I think that it looks okay. But when I mention consistency, which is different, because similar to what I was mentioning before, was that I look at conceptual imagery. Like, for example, like I would look at a picture of Namek and then I would create it in game and have a template for that. I would look at pre-release trailers and photos and concept arts and other imagery and recreate it in game as I see it, and then I would have those templates, and then I would write code to load those templates, and then I would add unique and advanced rules to manipulate, you know, the files that are getting outputted based off of those templates. And I would also, you know, write completely, you know, other new biomes in the code to get generated, but on a mass scale, and every single iteration of it is distinctively unique. In regard to the consistency, I mean that every moment in game, whether you be on planet or in space, you know, is going to be unique, but not just unique, it has to look like a concept art. Because similar to what I was saying earlier, I don't see a point in having a lot of quantity if it's not consistent, if it doesn't look pretty. Because having a ton of assets spammed everywhere does not equal variety, it just equals spam. That's my honest opinion. So my OCD, it won't let me, you know, I can't deal with that. Like, I have to have a unique universe that at least surpasses the quality of the trailers and next combined.
So your attempt at the mod is to create hundreds of thousands more biomes for exploration purposes, restore the colors of what Hello Games probably really wanted in their game. Because Next, granted as it being a large update, both graphically and gameplay intensity, it does have its limits, and I think those limits are put there because of the console. A console can't run a mod such as yours with, you know, a solid, acceptable frame rate, you know, a good temperature on the processor, and no stress is what I'm trying to say.
Want to know something interesting?
Yeah, what's up?
If you look at the E3 2014 trailer of a fully procedural dense rainforest, that's actually more dense than what we have now. It ran better than what we have. So what I can say is that former versions of the fan project and older versions, because of the way that I coded things, have been reported to run better than the vanilla base game.
And how would that be possible? Because I'm not to brag or anything, but I'm on a fairly decent PC myself. I spent a bit too much money on it, and I still see drops of frames, you know, down to the 50s, when there's large areas of, you know, the one tree model, for example, if it's spammed everywhere, that's a lot of stress on the processor, and because the processor dictates virtually most of the objects in the game, you know, there'd be a significant FPS drop. So how can your mod run smoother?
The performance of No Man's Sky is heavily dependent upon the GLSL shaders, the way that the biomes are created, because there's a way to create dense or non-dense, whatever kind of environments, and maintain a visual and variety, you know, and also performance consistency. So if Hello Games, like for example, if they were to do the biomes that they have now a bit different, you know, rather than, you know, like their current approach, they could actually improve performance.
If I may interrupt, sorry.
Go ahead.
We have some technical issues with Cineros here. I just messaged him to try and leave, and I'll attempt to get you. Yeah, did you hear that?
No.
Okay, so yes. Cineros, could you leave for a moment, and I will get you, and Cobra will get you back in.
Okay, let's go ahead, guys. All right, Ray Rod and I drink maple syrup. You guys have the floor again.
I forget where we are.
We're talking about the performance on the PS4.
Right. Yeah, I think you finished up with that one.
Okay, all right.
Oh, right. Question. So I'm on my friend right now, and we are using that mod, the diverse environments, and we've noticed that flora and objects that were either scrapped or in previous versions of the game were in that mod, and we can see them on planets, and they were functioning as you'd expect them to. My question to you, Rayrod, is will we see that same idea of older assets in your current mod? I mean, as you said that the mod will extend from pre-release, the PS4 RC, the E3 trailers, all the way up to next, but in that process, it just, that's my question, yeah.
Okay, cool. So, I intend to replicate every single pre-release planet that has either been in trailers or floating around the internet in photos. And that requires, finding or making the assets required for them. And also replicating the planet based off of, that concept as is. You see, those assets in that mod, they're spawning there, but they're broken. They lack collision. A lot of them are often blurred. So, I couldn't personally, my approach, I couldn't deal with that. So I spent about a year calculating various object geometrics and adding relevant collision verts to each model and giving them different functionality and especially mining healths and relevancy to their size. So not only will there be the unused assets in the game, that I find a use for, but they will be polished and they will be refined. They will be fully functional. And not only that, everything will always feel as if it belongs. Totally random usually results in chaotic, but rule-based results, you can have infinite variety with consistency. Like I was mentioning earlier, I'm at a point where, I don't know what to expect, but I definitely know I can expect to not see what I don't want to see.
Cool.
I see.
So basically, expect a unique
Centeros.
multiverse with infinite variety, but consistency, where everything will always feel like it belongs and resemble different styles of conceptual imagery in game.
So, being this just a mod of your choice, it's obviously a very heavy project, and you've been I have them older mods installed for Atlas Rises, Pathfinder, etc., etc. Where is your passion for this? Why did you decide to create something like this? Just for learning purposes? Just to improve your own experience, others' experience in the game?
Good question.
So I'm inspired by Hello Games. I remember back pre-release when, before the game came out, and I used to love watching Cobra TV, and we were all inspired by this awesome game that Hello Games, has been working on. And there's so much depth to it. I've seen things that other people haven't seen before, in the files. I'm letting you know this. I've data mined a lot of things. But anyway, getting to the point, I'm inspired by Hello Games and the pre-release builds and also all other builds that are distinctively unique in their own respective styles. And I just love No Man's Sky. I love Hello Games, and I want to create a multi-build hybrid of everything that is inspired by No Man's Sky with my own take and my own twist to it. Mm-hmm. I'm really doing it more so out of, personal enjoyment, a personal desire as a hobby. And I'm glad enough to share it with anyone who might be interested.
Oh, this goes way beyond that, Rayrod. The amount of things you've been able to achieve in the game is stunning. And without question, you've absolutely inspired many of the directions that No Man's Sky went in with next, without question.
Hands down, I 100% agree with that, Semtex.
Yeah.
And I think now would be a good time to introduce Centeros.
Centeros, yeah, Centeros is now, we can now hear Centeros. Centeros, how you doing, buddy?
Hello.
How you doing?
Good.
That's good.
I'm actually Macronicus, but I changed the name.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it's good to have you on the show, man. We're talking to Rayrod. We're talking about the exciting things he's bringing to next, and there's just some other things. Did you have any questions for him?
I wish Hello Games would make a similar build to what Rayrod's doing.
Yeah, you mind if I interrupt? It's based on that context. So, why do you think Hello Games created a procedurally generated world, right? But that procedural is often lacking. Planets feel relatively similar. do you think that they either removed or have are disgraceful or some elements of the game, like ones you're creating with very interesting biomes, or do you think that they're just lacking in creativity?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, good question.
Right. Okay, so there's a few things that I could mention. There are hundreds of thousands of pre-release features and mechanics that are not in the game right now, but I don't say that in a negative way. I mean, I trust Hello Games, and like for me personally, I'm going to answer your question, but for me personally, like it doesn't really matter to me much. Why isn't it here? It's more so. It just more so inspires me to recreate it myself and do it myself, despite the burden, that might bring. What I can say is that one pre-release biome, there's actually some of them left in the files right now. I ported those, but most of them I just remake from scratch, by looking at those trailers or footages and basically like assembling it in game and creating assets for it and doing graphical designing and stuff. But one pre-release biome is actually more varied and has more stuff going on in it than every single next biome and all other versions of the game put together combined.
But why? That's where I'm asking.
And you know what else is interesting? Not only that, they also performed better. But I don't know why. But to me, the why doesn't matter. It's the aspect where I'm excited to, to do it myself. The next build, it's similar. It crosses paths with various pre-release builds, and in my opinion, a lot of things with the next build is a better take and is far improved. And, there's a lot of things that we have now that were totally lacking back then, and, like improvement-wise. What else? Do we have everything from the E3 pre-release builds? Absolutely not. But we have a lot of things that were, that were a thing back then have actually been reintroduced and actually in some cases improved, like the HD ship textures, for example, like the more detailed textures. Oh, yeah. And if you asked about variety, right?
Yes.
Regarding the variety, like if you think about, okay, so here's something interesting. There was talk pre-release that not even a single blade of grass, not a snowflake would be identical to each other. I've data mined and found there's data for this still left in the files, and there's actually really, really, really old articles and stuff that was removed from the internet that talked about this. Hello Games had an advanced super formula for flora assets going on live in game, where it would consistently, produce unique environments. Like, think of like a 3D modeling tool like Blender, morphing assets on the fly, where every single blade of grass would be unique distinctively from each other, instead of the same model but dense all throughout the land. They had this super formula functionality flowing for the grass, for all flora assets, and even for creatures. Like those Diplos, for example, from the trailer, they weren't procedural models, they were procedural, but they didn't have to rely on extra added model parts. They were being manipulated by that super formula mechanism in real time, where the style of those creatures would be dependent upon bone structure and the generational algorithms, rather than selecting a preset combination of parts. And there's actually data for terrain regarding the super formula that is still present in the files and still works good.
May I ask, why is it you feel that they dropped the super formula aspect?
I asked a question similar, and to sum it up, I'm pretty sure he just said he doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of it's kind of interesting. Like for example, like if you notice, like Sean, like when they posted the content at the art contest, like they showcased one of the pre-release builds that was like of a different style, like really painterly and more vibrant. Like the pre-release builds. To me, I kind of wonder if it's like some kind of cognitive dissonance, because I wonder to myself, why did they showcase content from a pre-release build rather than showcasing next content. Maybe I don't know, but maybe they think, well, this is what originally attracted so much attention to the game, and this is like, it's painterly and artistic and stylish, but maybe we want the game to be more centered on on realism, this and this and that. Like, I think I can recall pre-release Sean mentioning that, he didn't like the fact that there were crescents, but so it just, on every single planet, and and somebody pointed out to him, I'm paraphrasing here, that that if you look at virtually every science fiction book cover, there's a crescent planet looming in the horizon. Yeah, so the game that we have now is it's like a new kind of painterly, I guess, but it's more centered on realism, and the game seems to be becoming more Earth-like for the most part. But the pre-release builds are more, they're more painterly, they're more stylish, they're like a completely different style, different shaders, like lots of different stuff going on, more vibrant colors. And that is where my heart is at, even though I love every single build of No Man's Sky. Because if you think about it, there are many pre-release builds, and lots of stuff that's like off the record, things that are like, that are like not in trailers, and just random stuff around the internet and screenshots and different stuff, and even like, lots of different builds. But every single one of those pre-release builds, ranging from beta No Man's Sky to to the reveal in 2013, to off the record stuff 2014, 2015, and early 2016, they're all unique from each other. Every single build iteration that they had is unique and of a different style. And then every single release build dating from the mid 2016, from Foundation, Pathfinder, Atlas Rises, and Next, they're all like different in their own styles. And the way that I look at it is, it's not this build versus that build. I just love No Man's Sky, and since every single build has aspects to it that I really like, that are all set apart from each other, I want to create a hybrid of everything, but make sure that it fits in industry standard and doesn't have wonkiness, but add my own touch and also ensure that it looks like a literal painting.
Right. So on that topic of paintings and the different art style that was even seen at the initial launch, one of the more controversial topics that's on the Reddit everywhere and most personal experiences such as mine, particularly in Lush Worlds, the color palette seems to have been minimalized, and as far as I'm aware, there's your basic red, green, blue, and orange. Yeah, for something like the grass colors. Is there a reason in the actual planets themselves that it was removed? Was it the terrain that wasn't coping? Was it the new flora models? Something like that.
Honestly, it's not a change that I'm personally fond of. I love the color variety. Like, right. It seems like this is just like my observation. I could be wrong, but it seems like upon every update, the game is becoming more Earth-like. And I don't think that Earth-like is necessarily bad. Like, I think it's nice to have planets that look like Earth in the game. But rather than taking away style and removing content, you can actually have it all and believable. Like for example, with what I'm working on, like, you can fly down to a planet and there may be a bioluminescent planet that you may not even like ever expect to find. But the next one, it might look like a painting, like a specific painting, or another one might look like it could be a real place in real life. Like, you can have different kind of styles in the same universe. And like the palettes, like you said, that's true. They like the watercolors have been removed. It's always the same color. Like the grass is, pretty much generally the same. I have a feeling that the reason why they did this was to have like more of a controlled approach. Like maybe on Next, like with the more Earth-like terrain that they added, with the voxel generation and like this, the grass and the water and everything else. That's pretty much
my opinion on the matter. I just think that they wanted to go with more of a realistic perspective instead of the painterly perspective that we had in the past. That's what I think it was. It was just a design decision.
Yeah, if you'll notice on the patch notes for next, it also claims that they're revamping planets for more Earth-like structures.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that's a direct quote that most people aren't fond of.
I don't think that a lot of people are. No. And I agree with that.
Yeah, what they're going through now is most of the patches and major updates that we're getting now are bug fixes, especially 1.6, because that's currently experimental testing, if I'm not mistaken. But I think what they'll do eventually is they'll fix most of the mainstream bugs and then start tweaking on planets, because they're getting Reddit. There's every post. So, there's your post that has this is version 1.0 planet that looks much better than anything I've ever seen in Next. There are mods now that terraform planets into cool structures. Just stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, I agree, but I think that to see some changes and tweaks to the planets, we're gonna have to wait for a big update. So maybe what's curious to me is the weekly community events we're supposed to be on week 3 of 8, and my question is, what's going to happen after week 8? Are we going to see another big update to the game at that point, or another week of 0 through 8?
Yeah, and I'm kind of disappointed in the community events myself. They're no different from the procedurally generated missions that you get from the mission boards.
I agree. I don't think they're bad. What I think that's bad about it is it's really not involving the community.
Right. It's just a planet and everyone's on it.
Yes.
Not everyone contributing together to reach a certain goal.
Right.
Not together at all. The most you can see are orbs that in 1.6 you can now talk to. That's just my personal matter. I think they're slightly disappointing, and I do respect your opinion, but I don't think that's what they wanted. I think they wanted to create an interesting mission, one that's dynamic, one that feels like, if any of you have played Skyrim or Fallout, you'll notice that the quests are very subjective, and they length on, they're interesting. I think that's what they wanted to create for No Man's Sky, but for whatever reason couldn't find the time, were too lazy, or are working on something more ambitious, along those lines.
Or just something to keep us busy while we wait for the next big update.
Yeah, that could be also the case. Maybe they're going to blow us all away with 1.7, for example.
Yeah.
It's going to be a completely different game.
Yeah, Ray Rod.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I think that it was a designer choice, that it's being, more centered towards realism now.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, the more Earth-like, it just, it's really familiar now. I like it. I think it looks beautiful, but it's like the more painterly style.
I want it all. I don't want to choose between one or the other. I want to be able to find Earth-like planets and find painterly alien-like planets. I want it all.
I'm going to do that.
Thank you, Ray-Rod.
I don't think that
Halo games to do that.
I don't think that the Earth-like planets fits in with the rest of the theme of the game, right? It's supposed to be a sci-fi game set in an alternate universe, of a game of exploration, survival, stuff like that. I don't think it fits in, and I don't think they really want it to fit in either. They're trying to hopefully change it back, but yeah.
I mean, the other thing is there's also been a lot of content that has been in the game. It's basically for example, an underwater biome, with the game right now, when you go underwater and you see assets there, that's an underwater biome. They've had 4 or 5 other underwater biomes that have been dormant there, but one of them are being used, and all of them, they work really nicely. There's no issues with them. But right. I guess what I'm trying to say is they could actually make duplicates of the vanilla biomes just for unique terrain rules. That the engine right now in pretty much every aspect of this game is using probably about 1% of its potential. And I can understand why some people are, are inspired to get into modding and to want to work with, the game and its potential, because this game is really the groundwork for infinite potential. But, I also think that like your approach to, to that is also important because, like I was saying earlier, like you can have a ton of stuff going on, but if you really don't know or understand or have any structure and how it's influencing the game, you can get some really nasty results.
Right.
That's the dream channel, not the only the person.
We have raptured the pollen in the middle of a conversation and what appears to be a very funny moment in the Atlas room. The pollen, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm all right, mate. It's good to hear you again. So I've been off for a few weeks. I've been playing the new update and doing the usual things. Like.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
It's good to hear you, man. On nothing. We're just on here on the Subcast. We decided to take a break from the Galactic Thunderdome and let some drama build up and let some people get really mad at each other and fight next week. But yeah,
I saw your Thunderdomes, man. I saw the first one you did.
Yeah.
You had sword and not sword, Semtex. You had Semtex and so on. You were kicking everyone's ass, Semtex.
Not since, how it seems.
Yes, no.
Have I got onto your boltcaster trick of that?
Snow Obsidian, who's in the call right now, he's the recently undefeated champion. It doesn't nobody can beat this guy. Not a single person can beat Snow Obsidian.
Yet. Well done.
So that's very interesting, very interesting. But the pollen, we are talking to Ray Rod right now, who I'm sure you know who Ray Rod is. And
yeah. I've been watching the Subcast a little.
Okay, well, awesome. Did you have any questions you would like to ask Ray Rod about what he's working on, or anything that he might have found in the game, or just general modding questions, or just curiosity?
All right. Well, I'm just wondering if he's going to have like waterfalls come in, or like the volcanoes and whatnot going off.
That was what I was going to ask. Oh.
Yeah. Because I like sometimes
that'd be amazing.
Did you hear that, Ray Rod?
Yes, I did. Yeah. So waterfalls. That's probably something that will have to be like developed from the ground up within the shaders, but I'm not entirely sure how much of that would require hard-coded work. I'll definitely look into it because I personally think No Man's Sky would be awesome with waterfalls like you do.
Yeah.
But there will be dynamically rising tides and waves and even flooded forests.
On that topic, are there going to be different variants of weather? Because the ones we get now are your dust storm, your cold and hot rain.
Absolutely.
And the blizzards.
There'll be infinite weather. I actually,
infinite weather, huh?
Right before.
Right.
I'm sorry, couldn't hear you.
I fail to see how there can be infinite weather. You can have it rain and hail at the same time. What do you mean by that?
Dark matter storms.
Okay, so
That'd be pretty cool.
So right before next hit, before I started, coding in C#, right before next hit, by hand, I started making about 500 unique weather types that were, some of them styled after pre-release trailers and or pre-release footages because all the weather was different in them. If you take a look, like Achaea, the snow planet, there's like a really rough snowstorm. Okay, so let me explain, like in regard to the infinite aspect. There will be infinite weather rules. There will be different styles of storms and visual effects that are caused by them. Basically, even the weather will interact with my infinite biome color variety. Like the weather will interact with the palettes. There will be dynamic storms. Even a subtle depth of field may kick in. There'll be different rules, different styles of intensities, and different styles of storms. There might be like vertical. There might be horizontal weather that might look like glass is raining. I'm going to be adding custom assets into the game for, specifically for the weather. And then I'm going to use code to pretty much automate unique weather in the way that I automate biomes.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Are these going to be like, like tornadoes you can see from space and stuff like that? Will we be able to see them from space if we're coming in? If you got your overhaul on and you put this in, you're flying towards a planet. Will we see like a tornado so we could avoid that section? Is it going to be all over the planet or in specific areas? Is the weather going to be?
I'll have to look into that, but I know that you'll be able to see weather effects and visuals as you're flying into the atmosphere.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
I actually do have a slight question about the weather, like the storms and all that.
Yeah.
So usually, of course, when like a hurricane or something really, like a really bad storm comes in, obviously there's usually a lot of flooding. I'm wondering if that also applies to like storms and in here, like would it rise water levels and stuff, and maybe like it would flood like outposts and trading posts and stuff like that that would be in the game. That's what I'm wondering.
So scripted events, adding scripted events to No Man's Sky can be a difficult thing. However, fortunately, the game engine actually allows for various kinds of events that can occur during storms. One thing that I could say, like, for example, if you picture like a rainy thunderstorm, something that I had flowing pre-next because I had dynamic weather. Like, for example, like if a storm started to kick in, the clouds, the intensity of them would change and then they would turn to gray. And then a fog would start to roll in, and then there might be a depth of field. And depending upon the procedural aspect of the weather would be a certain color, but always relevant to the environment that you're on, and it would accommodate it nicely. And there would be different intensities of fog or depth of field and visuals. Like some of that is like shown in like old videos that I uploaded, even though it's an aspect that I'm still heavily working on and planning to expand a lot further. I'm also designing different kinds of textures, and assets to be applied to custom weather that I will be using with my source to automate unique rules in relation to how that weather will actually function. And I'm working on making different kinds of weather types shift on actual biomes and planets, whether that would be relevant to that biome and environment.
It being called a multiverse, I'm going to expect that there's obviously multiple weather biomes per planet, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I'm working on that.
In that context, there are planets in the real world and solar systems that simply do not rotate on an axis. Well, one side is always dark and one side is always... Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Will there be anything similar in your mod? Will we see effects of that, or is that in planning at all?
Well, right now, the time of day and time of night is actually a global value. So it's like handled like the
it's like 15 minutes every night, 15 minutes every day.
Well, with the project, daytime is not going to be too long. Nighttime is not going to be too long, but daytime is going to be a little bit longer, enough to feel comfortable, because I feel like daytime and nighttime, this cycle is like way too short.
The only thing it's good for is when you're building up your points for the for one of the trophies, or not the trophies. When you're leveling up, how many days you're on a extreme biome.
So
when you're trying to get all the stars. I forgot what it is now.
Milestone.
The milestones. That's the only thing I find the shorter days are good for, so you can get to your milestones a bit quicker as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, aesthetically, I feel like planets that have, a more comfortable, time of day and time of night would make the experience feel better. There's something that I forgot to point out, is that the multiverse is also self-creating.
Right, just like the Cathedral Seed things.
I forgot what I was trying to ask.
So the multiverse will create itself.
Wow. Wow.
Oh,
That's
right.
really
So
impressive.
next being a new multiplayer edition, a true form of multiplayer. If I were to have, let's say, one of my friends have the mod and I would have the mod, is it fully synced and is it completely playable?
If 2 users use the same mod, they'll have an identical experience.
Alright, yeah, I've seen terrain generation mods where that isn't the case. Just clarify.
If a person is using the same terrain generation mod, they'll have the same experience. If 2 people are using 2 different terrain generation mods, they won't be synced. If someone is using a vanilla terrain and modded terrain, they won't be synced. But if 2 people are using the multiverse, they will be synced.
Okay.
Guys, we got Mike the Man-Child who just joined us on the subcast. Mike, he was not muted a few seconds ago, but now he's muted again. Or now he's muted, so we're going to go ahead and see if he can get himself situated. But I want to get Jimothy on as well. And Jimothy will be our last caller.
Hey, guys.
Jimothy, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. Just trying to do some homework, and everyone else was yelling at me about doing it in crayon.
Crayon, yeah.
Okay, yeah, something to write with. He's doing trigonometry in crayon.
That's how Ray Rod does his mods. That's why they're so great, because he does them all in crayon first.
He writes all the code by hand in crayon.
That's right. Yep.
Oh, by the way, I'm sure you're going to be asking, so...
There you go, Jimothy.
Whistleman Jim.
Hey, welcome.
Mike the Man-Child. Oh, there he is. Mike. Mike.
Welcome.
Mike.
Mike.
Is that you, Mike?
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay, so I don't think Mike can hear us.
He might be on the delay.
Oh, okay, all right. Jimothy, we got Ray Rod on the call, talking about some amazing things, and I do want to thank I Drink Maple Syrup for asking some amazing questions tonight for Ray Rod. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
It's created a lot of interesting conversation, that's for sure.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I interrupted.
No, go ahead.
Lightning. Will you actually? Will you? Bleh. I totally messed that up.
Can we have lightning except for at the one time at the beginning of a storm and one time at the end?
I had another question. Can you get struck by lightning?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That would be amazing.
So getting struck by
supercharge your ship and everything.
Just instant death.
Okay, so the first.
Hey guys, if someone asks Ray Rod a question, it's really, really polite to let Ray Rod answer. Just letting you know.
Not talk over each other.
Yeah.
I had a visual lightning effect that was actually shown in my 2013 style Hello Game Swamp replication video, and there was also custom swamp weather sound effects, at play during that storm. Getting struck by lightning would be considered a scripted event, and I don't know how feasible that would be. I mean, I'm open to any opportunity, like anything. If there's something that I want to do, like if it's something that would add to the experience, like I want to do it.
All right, so you stated before I joined and you were all talking on the podcast, you stated that in your Discord you'd be putting out examples or early releases of some concepts that you're putting in your mod. What can we be expecting from that? Because you've already put out a few great mods like the Atlas space stations in the atmosphere, the 2020 clouds, etc.
So considering that the fan project that I'm now coding for next, and I'm learning a new language to do it, it's in development and it's not necessarily difficult for me. It's just a lot of work. I want to provide like early test versions, early betas once I'm satisfied, enough to release the test build for people to, to kind of hold people who are interested over until it's fully ready.
Right.
Beta versions.
Okay, I'd be happy to use any of those.
I used to have private betas, but I'm considering, releasing some test versions
but there will be a disclaimer, saying that this is a potentially unstable test build. It's not finished yet. I'm still working on it.
Uh-huh.
I'm not anticipating any issues, but just in case.
Like I left it because
everything's a continuous progression.
Can I ask, how far are you on the PS4 conversion?
So, like I mentioned earlier, I put it on hold temporarily because before when I start working on the PS4 build again, like I did modify files on the PS4 build in the past, and I have it dumped on my PC, and I did port PS4 content to the PC already, but when I start working on the PS4 build, I'm going to be porting my already finished fan project on PC to the PS4 and making sure that it runs as intended. But I don't have a fully finished, fully ready PC build on Next yet because I'm still developing it. And I also need to research some things in regard to the way that the PlayStation 4 build handles the compression. The compression for the PlayStation archive files that I will be using to compress my mod with. That's like the only thing that I need to figure out, which I will. I just need to research more into PlayStation archive format, because if you're on PC, for example, like if you've ever used mods on PC, then you've seen pack files. Pack files with the extension PAK. They're essentially PlayStation archive files, but renamed. However, the PS4 build uses a different compression technique, and if the pack files aren't the exact size, the exact same compression that the PS4 build uses, it's not going to load properly. So I'm just, I'm researching that, figuring that out. I will,
so
but
pretty
it's
much
something I don't really.
So pretty much the first thing is to get through the PC mod and get that 100% complete, and then move over to PS4.
Yeah, so yeah. I prioritize PC first,
right?
Because
I don't think you'll be able to fully port over to the PS4, because from what I can tell, users with the Xbox One, the original Xbox One, and the original PS4 encounter frame drops all the time from basic tasks because it is after a procedure.
Well, it's kind of strange. I've got a computer, a gaming PC that's a 1080 graphics card, 16 gigs of RAM, i7 8700.
Decent build.
Yeah.
Right. Well, when I play it, I'm just describing what it is, so I can describe, what I'm getting ready to say is when I play it on PC versus PS4. I'm not a PC gamer, master race type person. I'm not a console boy. I play on both. And what I witness is better performance on the PS4.
Because it's better optimized, isn't it? For the PC, you got to deal with a wide variety of hardware, different cores in the processor, different processor types, the graphics settings, everything.
Right.
Which would explain working with a console is much easier than a PC because you know what hardware is going to work. People have had different experiences. You can work with the company. In this case, Hello Games did work with Sony, if I'm not mistaken, for some time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I mean, like, I'm sure that I can. Like I was saying earlier, that despite the fact that No Man's Sky in general is poorly optimized, even though it's gotten better throughout time, because when it first released, it was terrible, even though, whatever they had going on pre-launch, that the performance was obviously way better on PC and PS4, like in the footages. And the universe, contrary to what a lot of people think, it wasn't because they had less going on or it wasn't really as developed of a build. If anything, they had a lot more going on in many, many, many aspects than what they do, even with added content. But anyway, what I'm trying to say right now is that performance with the game is heavily dependent upon the GLSL shaders, the way that the assets are being distributed in the game, and various other things. And what I have right now so far on PC actually performs better for me than the vanilla base game.
Oh my word. Well done.
So are you, to achieve that, are you editing the shaders? What are you doing? Different methods of generation?
I do work a lot with the shaders, but it also has a lot to do with the way that I create biomes, and it has a lot to do with various other techniques that I have of, working with the files, including texture-based things. But here's the thing, like, I'm doing what I'm doing without degrading quality.
So are you doing with your biomes the less is more type theory?
Well, no. I'm basically reworking various aspects of their engine. Like, like for example, in Next they increased the draw distance, right? Like
Right.
they did that a lot. However, I'm on Next they did, but pre-Next I had something called seamless generation, a near seamless universe with almost no need for any fading, without popping. Where everything shall feel as if, it was always there and it always will be there. So what I'm trying to say is like when you would be on a planet, you could see literally nothing generating or popping in. And, it's basically a one thing. And I also had like an E3 space to planet transition. Basically, one of the things that was much desired, which they drastically improved on Next for a long time, was that, if you look at the trailers, when they're flying down to a planet, you could see the terrain from space. That there was less pop-in. Things wouldn't fade in like every 5 to 10 seconds as you were walking around. It was as if everything was already there for the most part, and it felt really immersive. But here's the thing: like for a while, people thought, well, maybe the game just can't handle that right now. Maybe it's just not possible because maybe back then, the game was less developed and they had less going on. But when I restored that on Atlas Rises, I believe that it proved that theory to be false. It was just a gameplay design choice, and you can manipulate, the way that the engine, handles things, and you can basically pretty much manipulate the entire game to function in different ways. And the way that I'm doing things, it also improves performance. And actually, with the right knowledge, somebody could actually rewrite the engine through reverse engineering and, and other kinds of things. Like people could actually add to the game from the outside in without having official tools if they possess the right knowledge. Like, it's totally possible. There's really no limit to what you can do.
Wow. Very awesome. Wow, we got the new discovery right there. There's some kind of fauna that's barking in the background. We have our last caller for the evening, Mike the Man-Child, I believe, is here. Mike, are you there, buddy?
Man-Child.
He's not the person.
Mike, is that your dog?
No, that's Mike.
That's Mike.
Oh, that's Mike. Oh. Okay. All right. So, okay. We've got a dog on the show.
Discovery uploaded.
Mike?
Discovery uploaded.
Units received.
Ray Rod. I want it.
He wants it, Ray Rod.
But what exactly do you want?
There's a joke there that I can't really.
We gotta keep it PG, guys.
Yeah.
I got a question for Ray Rod.
Oh, look who snuck in the back door! Oh my gosh, we got Keep Calm Game On, Adam.
Yeah, I've been
on,
sneaking
buddy?
in. I've been lurking in the background. I've been good. So Ray Rod, is there any way you could like add ways to get sick, like some form of sickness, like catch a cold, or like you give a Gek a piece of Gek nip and he gets like heartburn or something and he starts throwing up? Like, is there any way to put something like that into the game, or is that just foolish thinking? Like catch a disease or something, like touch a plant, get,
Adam wants to get cooties
touch a
in No
plant,
Man's
like,
Sky.
that's toxic, and
Yeah.
you receive toxic poisoning for X amount of time. That's a cool idea.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you have that in some caves, like those plants that spew out gas now in caves.
But it's not. It doesn't. You have to be near them for that to take effect.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's very
like,
short
but
term.
the point is, it's like kind of there, and it's something to work off of. So they should be.
I think that's more like a coding standpoint. I don't think that's a modding standpoint. Is it, Ray Rod?
Well, I mean, I mean, pre-Next, I had a frozen tropical camouflage giant whiplash biome.
Say that again?
I had a frozen tropical camouflage giant whiplash biome. It makes no sense, but it was just an alien world, and I had these tentacles on it that would like basically they were
tentacles.
Like 30 feet tall, and they would like pretty much smack you across the map and potentially kill you in one hit.
Planet is alive.
So it's like Big Boss.
The entire planet's the boss battle.
Watch the lesser plants on that planet. Ooh.
They were like the kind of things
ego.
you didn't want to be around. Like I want to create the possibility of hostile environments.
Rayrod, are we to expect very diverse terrain? Because aside from the version, let's take the launch version, right? There would be mountainous planets, but there'd also be rather flat planets and dead planets. My question, although alongside the customly built alien planets that we see in your trailers, if they were simply only terrain that you're editing, but in the mod's sake, would we see very heavily diverse planets?
Infinite terrain variety.
Alright, sums up. Alright.
So,
what about
Rayrod,
weather? Oh no, there's infinite weather. Okay.
So, Rayrod, I actually have a question that is kind of weather related. It's more like a kind of both fauna and weather kind of mix. My question is that has anyone seen or has anyone seen The Mist at all? Like where the mist comes in, like a bunch of monsters come out and stuff like that. I'm wondering if there's some way you could add it to where like there's kind of like a weather event that would come into a certain planet, where like when some kind of mist or something comes in, the biological horrors come up instead of being like, oh, you touch their egg and then they get pissed off and attack you. And instead they just come out and kill like everything they see. Is that a possibility?
Kind of like how they hunt from the mist.
I heard most of that. Sorry, it was these pretzels, but.
What do you mean this time, Rayrod?
I'm done.
Sorry about that.
Future note to all people watching and in this subcast voice: Rayrod will say whatever he eats, and what he says he eats is.
And we've learned a very valuable lesson. Pretzels are not good podcasting food.
I think they are. I beg to differ.
They're too salty.
Okay.
Pretzels are good. But I would like to take advantage of this break in the conversation to say I've got to go. So it was nice.
Sorry,
it is running late anyway. Yeah.
About the weather, and so you're asking like if creatures will basically be relevant to the weather.
Like what I'm saying is, yeah, like that, but in like certain events where a specific creature would come out on a planet, kind of like how the biological horrors come out if you touch their eggs, they get pissed off and attack you, like I said before. And but instead, it's like a massive like event, weather event, or like planetary event that happens, and they come out and then they just kill everything that they see.
Like when it rains in real life, earthworms come out of the ground, that type of thing.
Right.
Basically, yeah.
So I'm not entirely sure if I can sync the two things together, but what I can do is I can add rules where you might come across a hostile-looking environment, but certain things you interact with will trigger certain kind of ecology that is relevant to the style of that biome and its weather. So sort of like the inverse.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, it does.
It's interesting.
And Rayrod, a while ago, I'm in your Discord, saw you a statement saying you're the color palette. Is that something that we'd expect before you fully release it? Just a color palette mod? I'd be excited to see that. Most color palette mods either turn planets into like Play-Doh, make them look like rainbow puke or something not pleasant.
Yeah.
A purple tropical planet.
Yeah.
So first thing I want to say is real quick, I'll answer your question, is that there's not going to be any eyesore planets. We can't have that. That just breaks immersion for me. Hey, Cobra, if you're still on that page, I don't know, but
I can get on there.
Okay, at the very bottom, there's actually a bioluminescent planet. There's like a few examples of the color palettes going on there. So regarding the color palette mod, yes, I would like to release something for that. I'm still working on it. It's actually what I'm going to be working on again after this, after the podcast. I'm actually going to be looking at old screenshots and old trailers and recreating those palette environments like New Eridu and Araya 5 and all of these painterly. I'm basically working on recreating that more painterly style that we see in the older builds, like the 2013 trailer and that art. That picture that Hello Games posted from that art event that they had.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to be, once I'm satisfied with it, I would like to release that as a standalone.
I would be happy with, there's a mod right now that does the same idea, but it adds secondary colors, just like Atlas Rises. And the secondary color is probably a hot pink. It's something disturbing. I would be completely happy if there was just a primary color, right? So one planet, the grass would be, I don't know, neon green, the other would be dark purple. I don't want a million colors in one. I just want a set color and everything to flow into that color. Does that make sense?
Right. So, a few ways. There's going to be more ways as I continue to work on it. I'm still mapping things out mentally. But a few ways, like, I mean, is it possible for planets to all be one color? Yeah, it's going to be possible. It'll look nice. If there's going to be multiple colors, it'll blend in properly and look believable to the environment. Like the bioluminescent planet that, you know, in that image, like those three images that were just on the video that Cobra went through, like those are a few examples of the consistent biome palettes from pre-next images that I had on a more modest version. And there's also going to be dynamic atmospherics and visuals and skies. Like there's going to be an infinite amount of those, infinite amount of sky colors. Like for example, like when you're in space, you'll never know what kind of visual style of a system that you're going to warp into. Like for example, like space is going to have visuals replicated from pre-release space systems, NASA imagery, concept arts, random images on Google, and other kind of painterly styles. And for example, like in the mod, like you may warp into a system and you may come across a system that is just purely black space. You may warp to another system. You may come across another variant of black space with a different colored sun, of different colored nebula, a different colored fog. There can be an infinite variations of black styled space. There can be vanilla space. There can be darker than vanilla space. There can be pre-release style space, concept art based space, NASA imagery based space, custom space, fully procedural. Yeah, it's just
Can you do like space based off of a meme, like meme space?
I don't know, but that kind of variety is also going to be on the planets for like the sun, you know, like the sun colors, the fog, like the skies, the horizon, everything, and it's going to blend in properly due to the nature of the rules and the consistency involved. But what I can say is like that bioluminescent planet in that picture, it's not like I said to myself, okay, I want to find or make a bioluminescent planet. I didn't expect that. Like it blew me away. I just happened to come across that bioluminescent planet that blended in properly because of the rules, where the biome palettes that I had were working in tandem with the custom atmospherics, you know, and everything else that was going on, where you would continuously go to different planets and it would look believable to the environment without being eyesore, but it would also sometimes look very natural and earthly, or it could look alienish, or it could resemble other kinds of conceptual imagery.
Yeah, for me, I don't really care what it looks like as long as there isn't more color on the floor. Yeah, that mod that I was talking about earlier that isn't necessarily as great. It had a really interesting shade of blue and then a hot pink. If you could get rid of that hot pink, I'd be happy with whatever color there is. I just don't want more than one color. Does that make sense? It's hard to explain, which is someone else.
Wait, is this I drink maple syrup speaking?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. If you post an image in my Discord of what you're thinking of, I'll take a look. I'm pretty sure I have a good idea.
It's a mod created. You're aware. I just don't want to name off anything and make anyone sound bad.
Oh yeah, no, I know the mod you're talking about, but I meant more so relating to what you have in mind of like a single color. Yeah. Are there any can you think of like a real life environment like that, or?
No, because I can't really think of a real life environment where the grass is green and hot pink. But,
oh no! I mean like the one color concept.
No, it's not one color. It's that. All right, so let's say this: I fly to one planet. The grass is orange, right? The trees are yellow and purple. I just don't want the trees to be yellow, orange, red, and green, and the grass to be rainbow. I don't like that.
Okay,
here,
fair enough.
I'll give you an image of what I don't want in a second. Let me install the mod.
Infinite Sean Murray's.
Well, okay, I think I see what you mean. Like, when you fly, like for example, with the mod, when you fly down to a planet and you encounter, let's say, well, like you see like pink grass, but then there's like red and blue trees, for example. It just looks bad because.
Well, I'm fine with the red and blue trees. I just don't want the. It's hard to explain.
The multicolored grass.
Yeah, that's just kind of what I'm boiling down to. I don't want.
Okay.
Hot pink.
he doesn't like pink. All right, so just
Pink
leave
is a
pink.
bad color.
So this is what
have
I'm
an
gonna
option
do
to
for the
turn off
grass.
pink on the mod.
This is what I'm going to do for the grass, which is what I started last night. I'm going to go to pre-release images and trailers, and I'm going to generate palettes based off of them, and I'm going to put it in my code.
Okay.
And if you look at those pre-release pictures, like, can you think of any pre-release picture that didn't blend in properly? You see, Hello Games had a way, being artists, where they would have concept arts and they would just literally put it into the game as they see it. And they would do this with official tools. You know, I've been managing to do this, you know, with a lot of trial and error by, you know, doing it from the outside in. And so I'm going to make sure that everything blends properly. Are you saying, do you want the grass colors to be one specific color all the time, or do you want?
Yes, I want it. I want diversity, but not for it to change. The grass is a good example. I want it to be one color. The trees, I want one tree to be one color, another tree to be a different color. I want, yeah.
And is that per planet or for all planets?
Yeah, I prefer per planet. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. Actually, the mod already does that. The one I'm working on.
Oh, okay. Guys, remember to check out Rayrod on YouTube. Just type in Rayrod No Man's Sky. He pops up immediately. And Rayrod has now gone to releasing all of his information on his YouTube channel and through his Discord, and also the website that we're looking at right here, which I will go ahead and paste a link again in the chat. It's called Just Paste. There's a link right there. If you're watching this after we've been streaming live, you're watching the VOD, you could still click on that link. Just make sure you got the live chat still open, and it should still work. Again, if you want to support Rayrod and what he does, go over and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Just type in Rayrod No Man's Sky, and he's a household name even to people who don't have PCs. Everybody seems to know who Rayrod is, because all eyes are on Rayrod. I mean, people that want to play his stuff who can't, and I believe wholeheartedly, and you can't convince me I'm wrong, I believe Hello Games watches what he does and are influenced by what Rayrod does.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
You think
Sean Murray too?
Pictures of it, man.
Hey, Cobra.
Yeah.
You think the next update would be influenced by the multiverse mod?
I
More than
believe
likely.
so. I believe Hello Games is not going to stop watching what Rayrod's doing.
Sean Murray 2.0 equals Rayrod.
Infinite Sean Murray's. All the heads have been replaced with Sean Murray's head.
Guys, we're going to end the stream for tonight. We have Semtex on the call. Don't forget to check out Semtex. Just type in Semtex UK, and then you can put No Man's Sky, and he pops right up. He's also in the link.
Or Boundless.
There's a link down below in the description. He's been heavily playing Boundless here lately, and we here on Cobra TV we cover indie games or games in development. That's what we started for. That's why No Man's Sky is talked about on this channel. But we fell in love with it, and we haven't stopped. And we upload way more content than anything else unrelated to No Man's Sky. But here recently, we've been starting to cover the development of Beyond Good Evil 2, which is nothing like what is on people's first minds. It's pretty much No Man's Sky with a mix. It's like if No Man's Sky had a baby with Grand Theft Auto, and then boom, because you got
It's amazing.
Yes,
You really need to check it out.
Good
You need to
Beyond
check out
Good
what the
and Evil
community's
too.
like.
Cheater.
Beyond Good and Evil. Beyond
Oh,
Good
you
and
mean
Evil.
Beyond Good
is,
and Evil? I was thinking
yeah,
Boundless for a second.
It's going to be incredible. Boundless is also amazing, though. Definitely 100% should be on your gotta check that game out list.
Right.
I'm absolutely addicted to it. It's just amazing.
But Boundless is going to be just like Grand Theft Auto, but it's going to have procedural planets, 1-star system for right now. They plan on increasing that to more than 1-star system, but they want to focus on the planets and the cities and stuff. So they're using procedural generation to help them with the scale and size and landscape of these planets. But when they go into these cities, which are going to be massive cities beyond your comprehension, and they're focusing on making them handmade and make sure they feel like they're being lived in, that they're actual living, breathing city with multiple layers, interval buildings, and they're going to be so big that they need the community for help. So they're going to be asking people, or they are asking people right now. You can get involved by submitting your artwork to have your artwork displayed as graffiti all over the walls of the city, or advertisements, or anti-establishment propaganda stuff all over the place. Just pretty much music.
Down
yes.
with the humans.
Right, that's right. They're also going to be having a radio station, just like in Grand Theft Auto in Beyond Good Evil 2, and they're literally taking your music. Like if you have music, you can upload it to hit record, and they take a look at it, and if they like it, they're going to put it on the radio station in the game, which is going to be called Radio Cheetah. And we recently just had a call where we did a fake talk radio station where we're against humans. It's an anti-human talk show, and we're going to be uploading it there and seeing if we can get ourselves put into the game. No guarantee if we can or not, but it is a very ambitious game. When you think Beyond Good and Evil, you think about the first one. This is nothing like the first one. This is way far ambitious than what they ever planned for Beyond Good and Evil 2 to be.
Beyond the first game. It really is incredible. A lot of the stuff, and keep your eyes on the channel. Cobra will be uploading an awful lot of Beyond Good and Evil sort of videos, ships, cities, all of that kind of stuff. All of the stuff that everyone was loving back before No Man's Sky came out. Think of this as your introduction to Beyond Good and Evil. That's exactly what it's going to be.
Right.
Very, very exciting. You need to get involved.
I'm trying to get people
it's going to be an amazing game.
Hyped for it. They're not paying me. They don't even know about me yet. But I'm not going to steer you wrong. I'm not going to say, hey guys, let's check out this game. Let's get excited. But no, I've seen things that are very highly excitable.
Groundbreaking.
Yes, groundbreaking. And we need to pay attention to this game. It's not going to be out for a while, but that's good because they want your help in making the game, either by suggestions, art, music, even writing lore for the game. They want lore and stuff like that for the parts of the cities and stuff. So now's the time to get involved with Beyond Good and Evil 2 so that you can get involved in having a taste of you inside the game. Expect a lot of that here on the channel as well. But No Man's Sky is not going to stop. What's that, bud?
How procedurally generated is Beyond Good and Evil compared to No Man's Sky?
The planets, it almost looks like the planets are going to be slightly bigger than the planets in No Man's Sky. But you're only going to have a star system's worth. You're not going to have a universe.
Cobra, have you heard of Star Citizen?
Yes.
Yeah. Just asking.
Oh yeah. Star Citizen's great, but I feel like it's still a long ways away. And we got games like Cyberpunk 2077, who's actually using some of the technology that Star Citizen is using with like the crowd tech. Cyberpunk 2077 is actually having that in there as well. So, yeah, I would say to compare. I hate comparing games. I really hate it. But I would say Star Citizen and Beyond Good and Evil 2 are very similar, except for Star Citizen is more like it's got the arcadiness that Beyond Good and Evil 2 would have, but it also has the sim, a little bit of a sim side to it with the ships. How you have compartments for everything. You literally put stuff in and take stuff out. You can walk around in your ships. So that portion, I don't know. Well, you know what? The ships in Beyond Good and Evil 2 are going to be quite intricate. You're going to have a mothership that you can walk around and have an NPC crew in that you can fire people, hire people for your mothership. And you could also collect ships and hide them inside the ship. The mothership you could fly around. The fighters you could fly around. Then your little tiny vehicles that you take down into the cities, you can, fly those around and store all that inside your mothership. It's definitely.
And there will be definitely a more highly detailed video to come on the ships.
That's right.
The incredible things about them. So watch your space. It's going to be brilliant. And yeah, definitely get excited about Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's an absolutely brilliant game.
Yeah.
You definitely want to be having this at the top of your should be hyped about this game list.
It's going to be a bomb, guys. It's going to be a bomb. It's going to be one of those things that's going to be like, oh man, we should have paid attention to this game. This is awesome.
Your grandkids are going to talk about this game.
It's going to be a great game. Really, I wouldn't steer you wrong. But so we're going to be covering that alongside still continuing to cover No Man's Sky. And I'm also going to, be talking. I probably won't be playing a lot of Boundless on here, but I probably will do a few videos. Definitely check out Semtex UK for all of that stuff. He's doing a lot of stuff over there for that. And we're also going to be interviewing another YouTuber who does a lot of Boundless content. And so I can't wait to have that. But
hey, Cobra, when is the next Thunderdome going down?
We could do it at some point this week. I have to work, but I think I can come online for at least an hour's worth of Thunderdome at one point in time this week. I'll tweet it out. So if you're not following me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter, and you'll get notifications at least a day before, sometimes half a day before we go live. When I get my act together, we'll have an actual schedule. And that was Adam, guys, that you're listening to. So check him out as well. Just type Keep Calm and Game On. And that's Mike the Manchild.
Adam's awesome as well. He does a plethora of different games. They're all really brilliant. They're all really unique. Adam himself is extremely entertaining. You definitely want to check his stuff out. He is amazing. So that is definitely Keep Calm and Game On. All is one word on YouTube. Check him out. He is a boss.
He is. He really is, man. He's a good guy. He doesn't get the attention that he deserves. So if you guys want to just show some support for somebody that I take, like as a really good friend, go show him some Cobra love. Give him a subscribe, a like on some of his videos, and just stop by and say hi when he's doing his thing. So I think we're going to end the show right there. Ray Rod, thank you so much for coming on, buddy. You were always such an awesome guest to have on the show.
Thanks for having me, Cobra. It's always a pleasure to talk with you and everyone else here.
Yes, definitely.
I feel like Ray Rod is the next Elon Musk. There's like Elon Musk, and then there's Ray Rod. In my eyes, that's what it is.
Yes, J-Spot, but he's not on the show, and I tried to get him on the show for one reason or another. He doesn't come on the show, and we're talking about people that are on the show. So I guess that's it. Thank you so much, guys, who called in tonight. I am Syrup. What is your name? Syrup? Maple Syrup. I am Maple Syrup. Dude, you brought some amazing questions to the show, and you really brought Ray Rod out into the open and made him talk a lot about some really interesting things. So I do want to say thank you for that, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. Lots of fun.
Sure.
And if anybody watching makes YouTube videos, post in the chat. Just post, I make videos, and everyone can check you out.
Yes, definitely. What's up, Snow?
One last question before we all go our separate ways. One last question for Ray Rod.
Sure.
If that's okay.
Go ahead. You're on a podcast. Just asking.
All right, Ray Rod. How do you plan on doing the audio sound effects and such?
I eventually, there's ways that I can manipulate the audio. I plan to do that. I want to add more variety of creature sounds based upon certain sound effects and other things that are in the files already or unused. And I also would like to eventually, when my friend is done fixing his tool for replacing audio in the game, I want to basically create enhanced sound effects. Like, if you look at the pre-release trailers, there are a lot of interesting sound effects. Some of them actually, Hello Games added like new versions of them, like the walkers. If you look in the Portal trailer, there used to be walkers that would stand up. Now they're in Next again, but like a new style.
Right.
And they would sound like really rusty and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, it was like really cool, and there was like a, like a different, more, more sci-fi-ish cockpit sound when you got into the ship in that trailer. So yeah, I plan to work on audio a lot in the ways that I am able to.
Very awesome. And speaking of sound, guys, if you didn't catch the video, I interviewed Paul Weir, the sound director from Hello Games. The video's on my video list, a couple videos down. Check that out. Amazingly, this is the amazing Paul Weir, the guy that made all the sounds in the game. Every single sound. And he made the music for the Galactic map as well. And it only has a couple thousand views, and the guy's got amazing things to say in that. And he talks about Waking Titan and what his involvement was in that and stuff like that. So if you haven't checked it out, just go down there. I did 2 videos. One where he's just talking about Waking Titan, the other one where he's talking about the development of No Man's Sky and all the sounds and how he created those sounds. So it's pretty funny. He talks about how he's throwing stuff against the wall, jumping up and down on structures, and I begged him for a video of some of that stuff.
I really enjoyed that interview, Cobra.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, Paul and Hello Games are just really awesome.
Yeah. He's an amazing guy, dude. It was so easy to talk to him because he's such a normal guy. He's just one of us. And big kid that wants to play with sound and stuff like that. So it was very easy
very
conversation.
down to earth.
Yeah, very much so. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm sorry, what?
That was a good interview.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. All right, guys, we're going to get off of here. We will be uploading more videos this week, more No Man's Sky, as soon as we get that new event. And we'll be doing some more Boundless. We'll have Boundless content, and plus we'll have some more Beyond Good and Evil 2. So, with that said, I love you guys, and I'll see you all again in the next video. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Sean Murray.